is your American dream?
As Mexican immigrant, came over when I was 8 years old. My dream was to become a citizen, get married, have a home, have a wonderful career, and I've successfully achieved that dream.
Yes, I agree with all of that, but also to have a stable job and also purchase our first house, which we did, and we now own 2 cars, no more car payments, and we're striving, we're climbing that ladder.
Everyone has a right to the American dream.
Groundhog Sam! Hi, Nikisha.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, I heard you tell Brad that the phones get really busy when the show starts.
I did.
Oh, you did? Well, I was wondering if I could hang out and answer calls tonight with the call center. And if you want, I can remind everyone to call 1-800-529-5465 early to get legal help because the lines fill up fast. Do you want me to do that? Do you?
Sure.
Please. Sure. Oh, good. Okay, Brad Squad, you heard it from Nikisha. Call in early to get on the show to ask Brad your immigration questions at 1-800-529-5465. I'm going to pop some popcorn. Get ready. Yay. To watch and answer phones together. And now is the time we have all been waiting for. It's time for Brad Show Live, starring Brad Bernstein. Enjoy. Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning. What am I saying? Good morning. Good afternoon, everybody. It is Monday, June 26, 2023. My name is Brad Bernstein. This is Brad Show Live, and we're going to be doing your immigration questions very soon. But first thing is first. I got to say hello to the squad. Baba Oils, squad up. How are you? Elizabeth Francis, squad up. Gian Watson, how are you? Chris, squad up. Daryl, squad up. Jewel Delph, squad up. Nina Cole, squad up, everybody. Mark La, saying hello, guys. Roxanne Burnett, saying hi, Brad. And we have our first pre-schmooze question of the day from Sassy Everbless, saying, hi, Brad, good evening. Why should a lawyer who's doing a VAWA case for someone tell them that they have an interview date soon, and the reason for the interview is to keep the I-45 open? Is this possible? Yes, it is. I'll tell you how it's possible. It's possible because your spouse filed a visa petition. You filed an adjustment application concurrently with that visa petition, and the interview for the I-45 adjustment is based on what your spouse filed for you, your marriage case. And subsequent to filing that marriage case, you filed a VAWA application. So you have 2 cases going at the same time, a marriage adjustment and a separate VAWA application. So you go on, you get an interview for the adjustment based on the marriage. You show up to that interview without your spouse because you're doing a VAWA. You bring proof that you're filing a VAWA. They will, meaning the USCIS, will keep your case open, the I-45 open, until the VAWA is approved. It does 3 things for you by doing that. 1, allows you to continue to apply for a work permit and travel document. 2, saves you a new filing fee by having to file a new adjustment application, a new I-45 in the future. And 3, it's faster to keep the I-45 open once the VAWA is approved to finally get your green card than it is to let that case get denied and then have to file a new VAWA in the future. So it's very, 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 very possible. Willie L. Williams, squad up. Roxanne Burnett saying, hi, Brad. And Roxanne Sawyers, squad up, Brad. It's been a while. I haven't been here. It's okay. But I'm back, so we're happy you're back. Keep up the good work. You have a wonderful staff. Thank you very much, Romeo. And Janet Vincent, squad up. Myrtle, squad up. Elizabeth Francis, squad up. Dion Watson, squad up. Brad. And our second pre-schmooze question of the day comes from Emily Marshall. What visa category will be allowed to do visa stamping in the USA if approved by the Department of State? And what visa category will be allowed to do visa stamping in the U.S. if approved by the Department of State? And I'm not sure what your question is, so you got to be a little more specific on that. Myrtle Ray, watching with you. I said hello to Myrtle. Tracy Haynes Thompson, good afternoon, squad. Camille Thomas, saying hi, everybody. Rhonda Abrams, good afternoon, Brad. Prince, how are you? Squad up. Mavo Tom, good afternoon. And Adam Allah with another pre-schmooze question of the day, saying, hi, I got an RFE to submit medicals, and I sent it to them right away, and the status was updated to RFEs received on May 31st. It's been 26 days and no decision. When should I get a decision? It's asylum-based. Well, minimally 120 days. Ask me again in 120 days if you haven't heard yet. Mr. Tusk. Hi, Brad. How are you? How are you, Mr. Tusk? I think I said hello to Princess O2 already. Kazi. Hi. What is 204C? 204C finding means that you were previously, or somebody was previously charged with marriage fraud and therefore can never get a green card again unless they can overcome the presumption of marriage fraud. Arlene Small, another pre-schmooze question of the day. How long after I code to bio will I get a work permit? I don't know what code to buy. I guess you did your biographics. Will you get a work permit? Your biometrics, you get a work permit. Is it biographics? I don't even know what biographics means. Biometrics, and you get a work permit. Could be 2, 3, 4 months. Figure in that area. Saeed Absalam. Can my ex-wife file for me after I asked an immigration judge for voluntary departure? Maybe, but you would have to reopen that deportation case. You're barred from adjusting for a minimum of 5 years. And if you didn't leave, you also have this order of deportation. Both are issues, and both would require you to reopen your case. Elizabeth Francis, also with a pre-schmooze question today. How long will it take if you file for your son if he's in the United States? Well, Elizabeth, I don't know if you're a resident or you're a citizen. I don't know how old your son is. So let's assume he's over 21 and single, and you are either a resident or a citizen at least 7 or 8 years. And food for the foodies. Not necessarily a pre-schmooze question of the day, but a pre-procedural question of the day. I called last week and didn't get a chance to talk. How can I get to chat? Well, food for the foodies. There is a number scrolling at the bottom of this screen. If you were to call right now at this very, very moment, we only have 2 people on hold. We have time to speak to 14 people. So if you call at this very, very moment, you wait on hold, you'll get to speak to me right now. Not right now at this second, but in about 20 minutes when I'm done with our immigration schmooze. I'll be happy to speak with you. You can also call that number whenever you would like to call that number. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We will answer it. Not me personally, but my staff. And they can schedule a consultation for you to speak to me at the same exact telephone number. That's 1-800-529-5465. And internationally, it's 212-227-8933. So coming up, I'm going to be answering all of your viewer calls. But first thing is first, we got to schmooze and get into our immigration news. So that's how you do it, food for the foodies. That's exactly how you do it. Let's get into our schmooze. Let's do it. Maybe we'll do it. All right. So we discussed this week, and now we discussed last week, and now it is official. On June 20th, the Department of Homeland Security posted federal registered notices extending the temporary protected status designations for El Salvador, Honduras, Nepal, and Nicaragua for another 18 months. Now, temporary protected status beneficiaries under the 4 designations, they must re-register to maintain their temporary protected status throughout the 18-month extension. Individuals who arrived in the United States after the continuous residence dates for these designations, they are not eligible for TPS. The respective continuous residence dates are February 13th, 2001 for El Salvador, December 30th, 1998 for Honduras, June 24th, 2015 for Nepal, and December 30th, 1998 for Nicaragua. The rescission for the termination of the designations of these 4 countries for TPS became effective as of June 9th, 2023. So all 4 countries will get their temporary protected status extended. And you saw, just by me saying these designation dates, El Salvador is, people TPS from El Salvador since 2001, since 1998, and Honduras since the 90s. So those people have been in immigration limbo for a generation. And we talk about getting DACA recipients who've also been in immigration limbo for a long time. Equally as important is getting an amnesty for people in TPS. I mean, you give people temporary protected status here for a generation, and they're in limbo for a generation. And at some point, it's not fair. You just got to give people green cards at some point, because unless somebody knows that they can permanently reside here for the rest of their lives, you can say, "Oh my God, I'm going to buy a car, I'm going to buy a house," and then what happens if they deport me the next day? So it's extraordinarily unfair what the government's doing to people. So I hope not, besides, and we say this all the time, the DACA recipients, the TPS recipients as well. Government's telling you can legally stay here for 18-month increments for a generation already. It's time to give them amnesty. And on June 12th, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services announced the expansion of premium processing, that is expedited processing, for applicants filing to extend or change their immigrant status to students on either an F visa, an M visa, or a J visa. So F, M, and J, you can now expedite your change of status online, and you do it by online filing a Form I-907, request for premium processing services. The premium processing expansion for certain Form I-539 applicants, that the Form I-539 is the form to file for your extension or change of status. That's going to occur in phases, and non-immigrants requesting premium processing should not file before these dates. So here are the dates. USCIS will reject premium processing requests for a pending Form I-539 received before June 13th. USCIS will reject premium processing requests when filed together with a Form I-539 if USCIS received the request before June 26th. Now, here's an important reminder. You must submit the Form I-907, that's the form to expedite your change of status or extension of status on student visa status, the same way you submit your request for the extension. So, for example, if you requested your extension by paper, you're going to request your expedite by paper. And if you requested your extension of time or change of status by the computer online, you're also going to request your expedite also online. Now, the expedite promises a decision within 15 days, but 15 days from when? 15 days from the time you take your biometrics. So you first have to submit to your biometrics and your fingerprints, and thereafter they promise a decision within 15 days. And on Friday, June 23rd, the Supreme Court ruled that Texas and Louisiana do not have standing to sue the Biden administration over an immigration deportation policy, delivering a win for the Biden administration, an 8-1 ruling. Now, for those who don't know what standing means, besides standing on your feet, standing means that you have you will have a I guess I guess the right way to say it is that you have skin in the game. That when you say you have skin in the game, meaning that you're going to be affected by whatever may happen. And though the court cautioned, that doesn't mean the White House couldn't be sued in future cases by states. In this particular case, they couldn't. So in U.S. versus Texas, it concerned Texas's and Louisiana's legal challenge against the Biden immigration policy outlined in September 2021 that prioritized some undocumented immigrants for deportation over others. And what did they prioritize? The Biden administration said, we're only going to deport people who are criminals or terrorists. That's it. You're not a criminal. You're not a terrorist. We're going to leave you alone. And Texas and Louisiana said, that's crazy. We want to deport everybody. And Biden says, well, we don't have the resources to deport everybody. So who we're going to deport is criminals and terrorists. That's it. And the Supreme Court ruled Texas and Louisiana, as I said, did not have standing to challenge that policy. And they reinstated that Biden administration policy that from now on, at least throughout the rest of the Biden administration, I mean, maybe you'll trip over immigration somewhere. They're only going to deport people they find at the border. They're only going to deport people within the United States of America that have a criminal record or are suspected terrorists. Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote in the court's opinion that the Supreme Court ruling doesn't mean that federal courts may never entertain cases involving the executive branch's alleged failure to make more arrests or bring more prosecutions, noting that there are other situations in which it is possible that the states would have standing, and there might be more of a case challenging policies around detaining undocumented immigrants who have been arrested rather than arresting and prosecuting them in the first place. The Biden administration directive at the heart of the case argues that someone not being a documented immigrant should not alone be the basis for an enforcement action against them, meaning be put in deportation, arguing that the majority of undocumented non-citizens who could be subject to removal have been contributing members of our communities for years. So, what does that mean? It means that unless you are a criminal, unless you are caught at the border, or unless you are a suspected terrorist, you should be okay. What does that mean for Florida? The same thing. Governor Ron DeSantis can't do jack you know what to you. He is only a governor. Only President Biden, the executive branch, can decide who to deport. So Florida can report all the people they want to immigration. And based on this policy in the Biden administration, unless you're a criminal, unless you're a terrorist, you should be okay. Or caught at the border, you should be okay. So the memo for enforcement will go into effect immediately. And this is exactly what the memo says. It states the Biden administration will prioritize for deportation undocumented immigrants who pose threats to national security by being suspected of terrorism or espionage, have a history of criminal conduct that makes them a threat to public safety, or poses a threat to border security if they were apprehended at the border or port of entry. Drop mic. All the governors in any state can report you till the cows come home. But if immigration's not going to enforce deportation against you, you have nothing to worry about. Everyone in Florida breathe clearly now. Now, according to data released Thursday on June 22nd by the Census Bureau, the median age in the United States reached a record high of 38.9 in 2022. Now that's a rapid rise. In 2000, the median age was 35. In 1980, the median age was 30. That means the nation is not getting younger. It's getting older. Now, 38 is an unusually high median age for the United States. The average person in the United States is 38 years old. If aliens came from outer space and landed at the White House and they went to President Biden and they said, President Biden, show us your most typical American, you're going to find a 38-year-old. The new data adds to the evidence that, like many European and Asian nations, the United States is graying, posing challenges for the workforce, the economy, and social programs. Andrew Baveridge, president of Social Explorer, a demographic data firm, said, It's simple arithmetic. Fewer kids are being born. Birth rates fell steeply in the first year or so of the coronavirus pandemic. Since then, they've ticked up a little bit, but still, since the beginning of the Great Recession in 2007, fertility has remained very low compared with previous generations. The trend is international, even affecting countries with much stronger social programs than the United States, like Norway, Sweden, and Finland. Across industrialized nations, women of the millennial generation, they're more likely to prioritize education and work in their 20s, leading them to marry older and having fewer children. What's the oldest state? Maine, 44.8 years old, with New Hampshire following second at 43.3 years old. Who got the young ones? Utah, 31.9 years old is the average in Utah. That's surprising. I wouldn't have known that. Well, I guess maybe. District of Columbia, 34.8 in D.C. is the average age, and the third youngest state is Texas at 35.5 years old. Kenneth Johnson, a demographer at the University of New Hampshire, says the new census data covers the period up to July 22nd, and it shows the American population is older than it ever has been, and the nation remains still younger than Europe, where the median age is 44 years old. And according to a new analysis from the American Immigration Council of data from the 2021 American Community Survey, immigrants, many of whom are women, make up a significant portion of the United States population. In 2021, 23.2 million people lived in the United States, outnumbering 23.2 million immigrant women lived in the United States, outnumbering immigrant men, according to recent analysis of the 2021 American Community Survey. Immigrant women made up 14% of the country's overall female population. And while their work adds critical value to our economy and society, immigrant women in the labor force earn less than foreign-born men, and they earn less than U.S.-born men, and they earn less than U.S.-born women. Immigrant women of the four populations, U.S.-born men, U.S.-born women, immigrant men, immigrant women make the least amount of money and are the largest percentage of immigrants in the United States. Immigrant women from Mexico make up the largest share, 22% of the female immigrant population. About 5.1 million women from Mexico live in the United States, followed by India, Philippines, and China. And more than 54.8% of immigrant women were naturalized U.S. citizens in 2021, though naturalization rates differ by country of origin. Of the 12.7 million immigrant women in the United States labor force, many occupy roles across the occupational spectrum, accounting for 16% of all female workers in the United States. And while immigrant women work in a variety of fields, more than 1 in 5 immigrant women work in healthcare and social assistance industry, followed by female immigrants working in professional services and hospitality. Women from the Philippines play a vital role in healthcare and social assistance in the United States, with 42% of the women from the Philippines working in this one industry alone. And when the Biden administration announced in July of 2021 a new immigration court program in Boston, top officials promised it would make asylum cases faster and fairer. But according to local advocates and a new report from an immigration clinic at Harvard Law School that provides the first detailed review of Boston's expedited program called the Dedicated Docket, those promises are far from being fulfilled. The report found that migrants assigned to Boston's fast track program are more likely to be ordered deported, less likely to be represented by an attorney, and less likely to prevail in an asylum case compared to those who are funneled into Boston's regular immigration court. A key problem, the report concluded, and I've been saying this for years, is that migrants assigned to the new program struggle to secure legal representation. They can't get lawyers because the hearings are coming too fast, and the whole case is completed in less than 300 days. And only a fraction of those cases were actually completed quickly. Fewer than 4,000 out of the 20,000 were actually completed within the time frame they were supposed to be completed, within 300 days. So what's 300 days? 10 months. And the vast majority of these completed cases either ended in deportation order or were dismissed because prosecutors failed to file necessary paperwork, because prosecutors couldn't even keep up with the paperwork. And what that do? It left everybody in undocumented limbo, either undocumented or living here with orders of deportation. Advocates, including the authors of the Harvard report, wrote in a letter sent to the Biden administration Thursday on June 22nd, saying the administration has now had 2 years to make good on its promise of a dedicated docket that delivers both efficient and fair proceedings to families seeking asylum. The dedicated docket in Boston is one of 11 fast-tracked immigration programs set up by the Biden administration, but the one in Boston is the world's worst, or at least the country's worst. It is also the country's biggest docket program, with between 13,000 and 19,000 pending cases as of January being processed on an expedited basis. Now, the docket flips the usual order of immigration court proceedings. Under regular circumstances, new deportation cases go to the back of the line and are scheduled based on judges' availability, and sometimes it takes 2-3 years to process. But the dedicated docket bypasses that process, prioritizing the newly arrived families with the goal of getting them in and out quickly and sending a signal to would-be migrants that entering the United States without authorization will not guarantee a long stay in the country. But migrant advocates have warned that such a speedy system risks rushing migrants through life-altering legal proceedings before they can even find a lawyer and prepare their asylum claim. For years, advocates for migrants decried similar programs implemented by Obama and Trump, saying they were unfair. One issue emphasized in the report and by immigration attorneys is that not many migrant families end up in the dedicated docket without even realizing it. In other words, they don't even know they're there. Notices to appear for court hearings were often sent to outdated addresses or not even sent at all. And then when migrants failed to appear for hearings, judges sometimes ordered them removed from the country in absentia. And the report documents 1,177 in absentia deportation orders in the last 12 months on the dedicated docket in Boston. In Boston alone. The Biden administration said it chose Boston for a dedicated docket because of the area's established communities of legal service providers. But in a letter sent to the Justice Department in June 2021, advocates said the plan was based on a faulty assumption that legal aid was plentiful in Boston, because it is not. The Harvard report found that migrants who did not have legal representation, migrants who did not have lawyers, migrants who did not have lawyers standing up for them, fared significantly worse than migrants who showed up with a lawyer. During the first year of the dedicated docket, a mere 205 applications for asylum were approved in Boston. What did all 205 approved applications have in common? They were all of these migrants were represented by lawyers. Of all of the cases where the migrants were not represented by lawyers, there was a total of 0 approvals. Meanwhile, the Biden administration has stopped taking mobile app appointments to admit asylum seekers at a Texas border crossing that connects to a notoriously dangerous Mexican city after advocates warned U.S. authorities that migrants were being targeted there for extortion. U.S. Customs and Border Protection gave no explanation for its decision to stop scheduling new appointments via the CBP One app for the crossing into Laredo, Texas. Several asylum seekers told the Associated Press that Mexican officials in Nuevo Laredo, right across the border from Laredo, Texas, it's Laredo, Texas, and New Laredo, I guess, had threatened to hold them. Had threatened to hold them and make them miss their scheduled asylum appointments unless they were paid. Humanitarian groups in Laredo say they had recently warned Customs and Border Patrol of the problems, and that certain groups were controlling access to the international crossing on the Mexican side. So basically, we have some combination of mobsters, hoodlums, and gangs basically charging people just to cross over and keep their appointment. So I guess a second illegal checkpoint set up by mobsters and hoodlums and gangs. Now, migrant advocates say the situation in Nuevo Laredo, which is plagued by cartel fighting and other problems, casts doubt on the administration's argument that Mexico is safe for people to wait for their asylum appointment for the United States. It's not. Rafael Alvarez, 29 years old, who fled Venezuela, said that he landed in Nuevo Laredo in early June. Mexican immigration authorities at the airport seized his travel documents, including a printout of the email confirming his CBP-1 appointment, and demanded he pay 1,000 Mexican pesos, that's about $57, just to get his documents back. So these are actual Mexican authorities, police officers. He was held with other migrants, Alvarez said, and they would tell us covertly, you're going to put the money in this envelope and pass it to us. And if they didn't do that, they were being held. And I am sure this $57 was not authorized by the Mexican government. The officials, he said, threatened to hold them so they would have their appointments canceled. Alvarez, whose appointment was the next day, said he refused to pay and was eventually released, but 5 Russians who were held with him paid a total of 5,000 pesos, about $290. They initially were asked to fork over double that amount, but they told officials they did not have that much. Alvarez said other Venezuelan friends who flew to Nuevo Laredo in late May also paid to have their documents returned to them. Thousands of asylum seekers are now stuck on the Mexican border towns, waiting until they can get an appointment to seek refuge in the United States after being blocked during the COVID pandemic. And earlier this month, the Mexican newspaper El Universal published video it obtained from that was taken from a bus window, showing a federal Mexican agent working for the federal Mexican government, taking bills from migrants and stuffing them in his pocket as he checked passports in the Pacific Coast town of Jalisco. The agency said it had suspended 2 of its agents there and it does not tolerate the rights of migrants being violated. The newspaper also obtained government documents through a Freedom of Information request that showed the agency had opened 119 investigations in Mexico against agents between 2017 and 2023 for misconduct. And that's probably just the cherry on the top of a much greater problem in Mexico. And as rescuers race to find a handful of billionaires and very wealthy people and an explorer who vanished after launching a mission to take a look at the Titanic, another disaster at sea that's feared to have left hundreds of people dead was swept under the spotlight. Last week's sinking of a fishing boat crowded with migrants trying to get from Libya to Italy sparked arrests, violent protests, and questions about authorities' failure to act or find a long-term solution to the migrant issue. But many human rights advocates are extraordinarily frustrated that the world seems to have already moved on from this terrible tragedy, and that the resources and the media spotlight was dedicated to the Titan rescue efforts, which far outweigh those for the sunken migrant ship. Judith Sunderland, Associate Director for Human Rights Watch Europe and Central Asia Division, said in a telephone interview, "It is horrifying and disgusting contrast, reflecting on the apparent disparities in resources and media attention on the 2 crises." She said the willingness to allow certain people to die while every effort is made to save others, it's a, really dark reflection on humanity. And when you think about it, she is 100% right. And Sutherland wasn't alone in raising concerns over disparities in attention and resources dedicated to the search for the crew of explorers aboard the missing submersible named the Titan, compared with the deadly shipwreck that happened around the same time last week of a vessel carrying hundreds of migrants and asylum seekers. The front pages the past few days have been dominated by the search for the missing sub, said Jose Norton, co-founder and CEO of Choose Love, a United Kingdom-based non-governmental organization supporting refugees around the world. She said thousands more articles appeared to have been published about the submersible than about the migrant boat, yet it's 100 times as many people who are feared to have lost their lives, and these people, they were forced to flee their homes, were just looking for safety. A fishing boat carrying migrants trying to reach Europe capsized and sank off of Greece on Wednesday, authorities said. At least 79 people are dead, hundreds more missing. It's one of the worst disasters of its kind, not only this year, but in any year. The search for the Titan was a race against time as the oxygen supply dwindled on the vessel, which has been missing since it lost contact with its mothership, the Polar Prince, an hour and 45 minutes after launching its dive early on Sunday, June 18th. The U.S. Coast Guard had said that 96 hours worth of oxygen is available, and with the support of agencies and other nations, the Coast Guard raced to find the vessel and its passengers, who were identified as Stockton Rush, the CEO of Ocean Gate Expeditions, the company behind the mission, British billionaire Hamish Harding, owner of Action Aviation, French dive expert Paul Henry Nargolo, and prominent Pakistani businessman Shahzad Dawood and his son Suleiman. On Thursday, debris from the Titan was found, and it was presumed that all of them had passed. Now, Greek authorities have so far recovered the bodies of at least 81 people, and more than 100 passengers have been rescued, including Pakistanis, Egyptians, Syrians, Afghans, and Palestinians. But survivors and the United Nations have said hundreds were aboard the boat, and many are still missing and feared dead. And if a death toll in the hundreds was confirmed, it would be the worst shipwreck recorded in the Mediterranean. Greek authorities have further been criticized for not acting to rescue the migrants, even though a Coast Guard vessel escorted the trawler for hours. International maritime law dictates that authorities are obligated to conduct immediate rescue operations without an explicit plea for help. Norton said the 500 people risking their lives in search of safety deserve the same respect as the lives of those on the Titan. And just because the lives of those on the Titan, those people had more money, for some reason they got more respect, and that's just wrong. And in Russia and Ukraine, there was a story on 60 Minutes, which is seen on CBS News, that Russia is attacking, obviously, civilians in Ukraine with new waves of missiles. You see it in the paper every day. It's a relentless assault that the United Nations has called a war crime. But even before Russia's invasion, more than 1,000 Ukrainian children were already at war, and they were at war fighting cancer. And as 60 Minutes first reported last winter, Russian attacks on hospitals and the power grid put these fragile children in immediate danger. Olena Zelensk, the First Lady of Ukraine, asked the world for help, and a renowned American hospital in 21 countries answered the call. And what followed was an improvised flight to safety that Ukraine called the Convoy of Life. Olena Zelenska spoke with the first ladies of other countries. She said for this convoy to work, they needed to set up the system in their countries, making sure that physicians and hospitals in their country would accept the children for treatment. Jill Biden responded for the United States, Brigitte Macron for France, Agata Duda for Poland, and many others. They helped activate charities and medical societies. An improvised triage center in Poland set up by an American hospital, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee, named for the patron saint of hopeless causes. Dr. Marta Salik of St. Jude, who helped organize the triage center in an empty hotel in the Polish countryside, said the children would get escorted from Lvov to the border so they didn't have to wait in line. And then they would cross the border into Poland. And the children who were sick would go straight to the hospital with an ambulance, sometimes a helicopter. And the ones that were stable would take this really impressive medical train that had medical staff. And they had an ICU and a surgical theater. And they would take this train to a city called Kalis, that was close to where our Unicorn Clinic was. And the Unicorn Clinic was the name that they gave to the hotel that could hold 300 patients and their families from the Ukraine. Medical records were translated and hospitals found for treatment at no charge in 21 welcoming countries. The mass evacuation of children with cancer ran last spring from March through May. By recent count, the Convoy of Life evacuated 1,300 children into a welcoming world, allowing their families to fight one war at a time. Roxalina Samaras, the mother of 2-year-old Melanif, who was fighting cancer, knew her family had to escape Ukraine. In February, her mother, Roxalina Samaras, joined the jam of thousands of refugees struggling to cross into Poland. They are now living in St. Jude in Memphis, Tennessee. Roxalana told 60 Minutes there's hope that Melania can be cured of her fibrosarcoma, a cancer of the connective tissue in her leg. She said, we fled the war from people who just wanted to kill, and here people are greeting you and want to give you the best help. Wherever I go, I want to say thank you to every person that I meet. I feel like I want to scream out loud to everyone, thank you. America gave this to us. I would like to have a chance to help others too, so that people believe that kindness wins. We need to do more good things. It's a great story. And finally, this story shows that help and support can come from people of all ages. An elementary school student from South Brunswick, New Jersey, wants to make it easier for those who are just coming to the United States. Third grader Avery Ryan of Cambridge Elementary School has spearheaded a pillow and blanket drive to her school. She was able to collect 82 pillows and 5 blankets, and the items are headed to a group that helps immigrants and refugees. Ryan says that she started the drive because she had an Afghan refugee living in her house. And she said that she noticed they didn't have a pillow. And I feel like even though we're not part of their family, we still need to help people, she said. And Ryan's teachers say that it's important to teach all students to be kind and helpful to others. And that is our schmooze for the day. So even when there's bad news, we always want to try to have some good news as well. All right, before we get into our meat and potatoes, which is answering your immigration questions live on the air, you can call right now, 1-800-529-5465. I want to share one of Spar and Bernstein's success stories. Zinar, she's a client of ours at Spar and Bernstein, who recently received her green card, and 2 lawyers had told Zinar she would never, ever be able to obtain permanent residency in the United States. But I had a consultation with her, and I assured her there was a way to do it. And now she has a green card. And she flew all the way from Texas. She was so happy she flew all the way from Texas just to shake my hand and thank me face-to-face in person and just say a few words about her experience working with Spar and Bernstein. Let's watch.
Thank you, Brad, so much. You did it. I mean, a lot of lawyers was before that. I mean, 2, you are number 3rd. And right. When you told me, like, fire them, hire me, I trust you. And now I'm so happy I did it.
And I remember when I first met you, you were so sad. And now look how happy and now look how happy you are.
Yes, I am. Yeah. Because of you and your team. Marina also, yes. I wish she's here, but she's in Connecticut right now. Yes. I visit you in person too. Mm-hmm. I like to visit your team.
You came all the way from Texas to visit us, right?
I came from Texas, especially say to thank you, to see you. And share my happiness with you guys.
Well, yes. I wish you all the best in the world. You're a wonderful person. You deserve it all, and congratulations on obtaining your permanent residence.
Thank you very much. Nobody was believing on my, like other lawyers was telling me like, hey, you will not get your green card. Just you say like, no, they don't know what they're doing, and I trust you. And now I'm so glad I did that.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Oh, Brad.
There we are again. And as difficult and complicated as your immigration situation may be, Spar and Bernstein will do everything in our power to get your immigration status sorted out. We're going to figure out the best options for you. Just have to have a consultation. Call 1-800-529-5465 international, 212-227-8933. All right, we're ready to get to our meat and potatoes now. Let's do it. All right, John in Los Angeles. How are you?
Hi, John.
Yep, John, you're on. How can I help you?
Yep. I have a question, Brett. Hello.
Go ahead.
Okay, Brad. Okay, I have a question. Okay, I've been working undocumented for a few years, and I file tax, and I get tax returns from IRS.
Okay.
Would it be a problem if I were to apply for a green card?
How you plan on applying for a green card?
My son is a U.S. citizen. He's turning 21 like in 2 years' time.
Okay. So what the law says is
Uh-huh.
that if you made a legal entry into the United States
Uh-huh.
and your son is a U.S. citizen over the age of 21,
Okay.
the fact that you worked in the United States illegally, the fact that you were breathing air in the United States illegally, you lived here illegally, does not bar you from getting a green card. As a matter of fact, you're following the law by filing tax returns on work that you're doing. So you are actually following the law. So if you put down, you worked, you paid taxes, my son's a U.S. citizen, he's 21, I made a legal entry, and you file that adjustment, you're getting a green card.
All right. So, Brad, another question is that he's been between 21, like year 2025, like February 6th. What is
Right.
the best time to file for adjustment status?
February 7th, 2025.
February 6th, 2025.
February
yeah.
7th, one day after his 21st birthday, put in the adjustment application.
So prior to that, was the best time to gather all documents? Wouldn't it be better?
I'm
like
sorry?
3 months before?
No,
Is it better to gather all documents?
no, it's not. The best thing is to get your green card as fast as possible. And whether you file the adjustment on one day after your son turns 21 or 21 days after your son turns 21 or 3 months, it's the same exact case. There is no additional document you need to get. So the best thing that you can do is file it as quickly as you can.
Oh, I see. All
But
right.
you can't file it till 24 hours after your son's 21.
Okay. So I think the question is, Brad, I live in California and you're in New York, right? So if I were to engage your firm to file for me, so
That's not a problem. I handle cases in all 50 states. I have lots of clients in California. I have lots of clients everywhere. In every state, I have a client right now. And because of the way technology works, we do telephone calls, FaceTime, emails. I could even represent you telephonically or virtually. So clients in every state get the same exact service, whether you physically are in front of me or we do it by technology now.
Oh, okay. So what about like if they ask for like an interview, green card interview?
What happens is we represent you in New York, and what'll happen is the immigration officer will call us on the telephone or FaceTime us, whatever they prefer, and then invite you into the interview. And we're representing you from our desk in New York while you're physically in California. We prepare you before you go in. So everything is virtual now. The entire world is different.
Okay.
So you're fine. If you're hiring me, what I'm telling you is if you hire me in California and I'm in New York, you never have to come to New York. I never have to go to California, and you are 100% fine.
Thank you so much, Brett, for your answers, okay? Thank you.
Call me in the fall of 2024.
Thank you so much, Brett.
All right. Be well.
You have a good day, Brett.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's go to Patty in Bay Harbor, Florida. Hi, Patty.
I am here. Yeah.
How are you?
Very good, thank you.
We're glad to help you.
Who's talking?
Brad. Brad is talking.
Oh, hi, Brad. How are you?
How are you?
Very good, thank you. Listen, do you want my question?
Of course.
My question, Brad, is that I have been in this country 26 years. I came with a passport and visa, everything, and I stay here. I decided to stay at the 6 months when I had to go back to my country.
Where are you from?
My mommy was asking me, but my mom passed away 4 months ago. And the immigration said that they can do anything with that problem because it's like everything going to the trash.
I'm sorry. right, couple questions. One, well, let me statement my condolences on your mother. Okay, now
Thank
couple
you.
questions. Where are you from?
Colombia,
And when did you come to the United States?
1998,
How did you come here?
with visa. I
How
came
old-
like a Chilean because I have 2 citizenships.
Okay.
And
How
I
old,
came like a Chilean woman.
how old were you?
Now
Then, 1998.
I was 36.
Okay. And how did your mom get her green card? I know she was a
My
citizen.
sister,
This is
she came on the 2000,
Okay.
and my sister is American, and
Uh-huh.
she asked her, and she get the papers where my
And-
sister was living.
Okay. And when did your mother file papers for you?
2 months before Donald Trump was going to be the president.
Okay. Was the I-130 visa petition approved?
Excuse me?
Was the I-130 visa petition approved?
Yeah, they sent me the approbation, the immigration, and
Okay,
everything.
So this is what's going to happen. You're going to get a green
Mhm.
card. This is why you call Brad and you don't call immigration, because when you speak to immigration, they give you wrong advice.
Uh-huh.
When your mother passed away and you have an approved I-130 visa petition and you were physically in the United States, you qualify to continue that case based on something called Section 204L. And what 204L says is if you're in the US and your parent passes away or your relative passes away who filed for you, you can have another relative complete the case. So you could have your sister step into the shoes of your deceased mom and complete the case for you. Very simple. Number two, because you're out of status and I don't know whether or not you qualify to adjust, it doesn't sound like you're going to qualify to adjust your status here. You would have to go back to Colombia to pick up your green card, and you need what's called a provisional waiver based on hardship to your mother, that she would suffer a hardship if you went home and didn't come back. And then all your immigration violations are waived. But you can't do that waiver anymore because your mom passed away. But under Section 204L, it says if you file that waiver, it's automatically approved.
Yeah, but the thing, Brad, is that I was reading the DACA thing, and in the DACA, that it doesn't have to do anything with me, it was saying that everybody who's coming to the country with a visa and staying after the 6 months, they don't have to go outside the country to get a visa or paper.
I don't know what you're reading, but that's just completely incorrect. Okay, number one. Number two, you're getting all wrong information. You got wrong information from immigration, and you're getting wrong information from whoever you're speaking to and wherever you're reading. You will get a green card through Section 204L. Call me. I just explained to you how. Your sister's going to substitute in. You're going to get a provisional waiver approved. It's automatically approvable. You're going to go back.
Yeah, but my sister has to. Sorry, Brad. But my sister has to. My sister is not working, and her husband either. He's retired, but they don't have the money to be my sponsors.
Yes. Well, okay. So then your sister will be your sponsor, and you'll get a second sponsor from somebody who has money. Anybody in the United States can do it and be a second sponsor for you.
Oh, really? It could be a friend?
Friend, yep. Oh. You're going to get a green card, Patty. Just listen to me. Hold on 1 second, okay? I promise you. Hold on.
Yeah, but let me ask you something. I was going to ask you about the naturalization.
You can't get a green card first, and then we'll talk about naturalization.
Okay, and then this is everything what we were talking?
Patty, you called me up and you said to me, my mom filed for me. I don't have a green card. I've been here since 1998. I called them. She passed away, and I called immigration. They said there's nothing they can do about it. And then I read on something online about DACA that was completely wrong, and I don't know what to do to get a green card. And within a 3.5 minute call, I solved all your problems. Be happy, put a smile on your face. You're going to get a green card through Section 204L. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Let's go to Ben in Miami.
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Hi, Ben.
Hi.
What's going on? How can I help you?
Hi, am I live with you?
You are.
Oh, cool. So I have a question about refugee travel document. I currently hold one, and I wanted to renew it in advance before it expires. And I wanted to know how soon can I apply for a new one, because whenever I call USCIS and ask them this question, they're giving me different information. Somebody says 2 months. Sorry?
6 months before.
6 months. So is it okay if they told me like 4 months? Somebody told me 2 months.
6 months.
And I don't even know. Okay. And another question, they're telling me that I have to return my current travel document. What if I need it for traveling? Am I obligated? Sorry?
You don't have to return it.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, one more question, if you don't mind me asking.
Mm-hmm.
I got my asylum approved in 2021, and since then I'm waiting for my green card. I have applied, and does all this wait time, does it count towards the citizenship waiting time?
No.
Or
only getting your green card counts towards citizenship. How long have you been waiting? How long have you been waiting?
So I have applied in September 2022. That's when I was eligible.
All right. So it's not even been a year yet.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to get it till sometime next year. If 20 months goes by, you still don't have your green card, give me a call back. We can talk about a mandamus at that point.
20 months, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Let's go to Mina in Philadelphia. Mina.
Hi, Brad. How are you doing?
How are you?
These questions are from a friend. So I'm telling you a little bit background. He has a 10-year green card, and his ex-wife got the marriage annulled based on the common law fraud. And also he has a conviction for domestic violence. He hasn't been to the jail, but he will because he appealed it. I don't know he will be or he's not. And the other domestic violence case against his ex.
Wait, Mina, I'm having trouble following what you're saying. You said you have a friend who was charged with marriage fraud and also charged with domestic violence. Is that what you said?
No, his marriage is annulled based on common law grounds of fraud.
Why did his marriage become annulled?
Because he committed fraud. There were several things in the marriage, and because his ex-wife claims he married her for immigration only.
Did he file papers with immigration?
He already have a 10-year green card.
He has a 10-year green card, and after he got a 10-year green card, his marriage was annulled for fraud?
That's correct.
Wow. Okay. Did he have children with this woman?
Yeah, he does.
He had children with the woman who claimed his marriage was fraud?
Yes.
How do you get an annulment when you have children? That makes no sense. If you had a child, the marriage was real. You know, I've never met a judge who annulled a marriage with children involved.
Oh, there was several things actually also in there because he misrepresented in his application.
All right, so what is your question? This guy sounds like he has
my question is, he is trying to get married again with a girl in United States. Is there going to be any problem?
Yes.
Because the girl is so much concerned. And is there any way that he can get a citizenship, or
I don't know. I don't know if he can get citizenship because you told me about a domestic violence. You told me that he had his marriage annulled for fraud and then got a 10-year green card or subsequent got annulled. Immigration is going to want to see that paperwork. So there is not a chance in whatever that I can solve this problem on a live show without speaking to this man and getting his immigration records and looking at what was charged in the annulment against him and then making an analysis, because without that, I wouldn't have any idea. All right. So this man, bottom line, this man needs a consultation. Hold on one second. Let's go to Abby in Miami. Abby.
Yeah.
What can I do to help you?
Hi, thanks for having me. Okay, so my question is, I've met my fiance online from 2021, and in April I visited my fiance of 2021, and December 2021 I spent Christmas with my husband now, but we are married in 2023. We have a child together in 2023. We want to start the petition, but the problem is my husband does not qualify. With his income is under $10,000 per year, not enough,
Is he a citizen?
Yes, he's a U.S. citizen.
He files taxes?
Yes.
Okay, so then there's 365 million people or whatever it is in the United States who have a green card or who are a U.S. citizen. Any one of them, I'm sure, hopefully one of these 360 million or 365 million people can give a second affidavit of support.
That's the thing. Not everyone wants to have that responsibility to co-sponsor anyone.
I understand, but I will tell you this, Abby, in my entire career of helping hundreds of thousands of people, literally, I think I've only met one or two people who said, I've asked everybody and nobody will give an affidavit of support. There's always somebody who will do it for you. You got to be persistent and ask. You don't ask, you don't get. One of the most important lessons in life is you don't ask, you don't get. You always have to ask.
That's true. I have another thing. I'm going to ask someone else, or people around.
Sure.
I have a 6-year-old son. I have a 6-year-old son in Jamaica, and I would love for him to visit me here for the holiday period, but I don't know how to get him a visitor's visa.
They're not going to give him a visitor's visa. Your husband would have to sponsor him separately as a stepfather, and he'll get his green card to come in about 18 months to 2 years. When you file your adjustment application, you'll get advance parole travel document to go home and visit him.
His grandparents are the ones that are taking care of him. Can they be the one to take him to the embassy for interview?
Yes, but as I told you, they're not going to give it to him because his mother already overstayed on her visa. So they absolutely will not do it.
Is that overstayed too? So that's a big issue that we're having.
Your son will not get a visitor's visa. I'm sorry to break the news to you. You've been married for a long time now. Your husband needs to file a visa petition for your son. You need to file an adjustment application so you can get advance parole. If the only thing holding you back is an affidavit of support, go ask people for it. As I said, you don't ask, you don't get. You need to start that process. You hoping and praying your son will get a visitor's visa, that's pie in the sky. It's not going to happen.
That's correct.
Okay?
Yes.
I'm giving you the best advice I can. All right? What is it? You can take the donkey to water, but you can't make the donkey drink. So please drink and call me. Okay?
Thank you, Brad. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. Let's go to Elder in Chicago. Elder.
Hi, Brad. My name's Elder, and I have a question about my ongoing immigration case. My wife and I are trying to obtain for me to obtain a green card through marriage. We've been married about 2 years now. I have a medical exam this Thursday, the 29th, for that case, which I believe is the last step in order for them to approve me or deny me. Unfortunately, I was completely unaware about the marijuana laws on a federal level. I am a medical marijuana holder. I do have a medical marijuana card, and I do believe I will test positive come that date. I've never been charged with any criminal case. My question is, will my case be automatically denied, or am I in any danger of being deported?
Well, I don't think they're testing for marijuana in the United States unless you walk in and say I'm an abuser of drugs. So having a medical marijuana, certificate or license, or whatever it is that you have, I don't know, whatever it is that you would have, like something that says you can smoke weed, doesn't mean you're an abuser of weed. So unless you're an abuser of drugs, I think you're going to be okay.
Okay. Just I have another question, a follow up. If it were to be denied for whatever the case is, can we apply again? Can we try again?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. That was my question. And
Yeah, I think you're going to be okay because they're not testing for that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All
Thank you very much, Brett.
Let's go to Sam in Sacramento, California. Sam. Hi, Sam. Sam from Sacramento going once.
Hello?
Sam.
Oh, hi, Brad, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Sounds like you're in a workshop. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm okay. I have two quick questions, sir. And I will start with I want to know if you want to become a citizen and you want to change your name, and there's an option on the paperwork if you want to change your name. Is there any repercussion or any negative effect on either your credit score after you change your name, or anything that will have any negative effect on you if you change your name if you're trying to become a citizen?
There is no legal ramifications to changing your name. It's completely allowable. I'm not a credit expert, but I don't see why that would affect your credit in any way, shape, or form.
Right. Oh, okay, great. Thank you. And yeah, the second question is, I'm asking for a friend. So basically, our mom came to United States like 10 years ago on a visitor's visa. But the visitor's visa was actually applied for a mom through another family. And the mom has been here out of status for the past 10 years. But now the biological daughter, she's now a citizen. But she lives in another state. She's a United States citizen. So now she wanted to see if she can file. She thought it's too late because her mom is around 70. And she said, it's too late first. And she was afraid that if it's going to be possible for her to still file for her mom to become a resident.
Yes, of course she can file for her mom. I didn't understand the part when you said she was filed for by another family. As long as the mom didn't commit any fraud in getting her visa, her daughter's over 21 and she could file her adjustment of status. It's not a problem.
The mom has to come here.
So yeah, basically the daughter is here in California, but the mom is in Maryland. Does that really have any?
Nope.
Okay, she can just put in the paperwork for her mom.
Put in an adjustment. I can help you. Hold on one second. But the answer is yes. You put in the adjustment. William in Denver, Colorado. William.
Yes, Brad. Thank you very much for the service.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I worked with you we worked on my I-730 for my family. They were approved, and right now I received a letter in March 22nd that any visitor received my letter and it was forwarded to the embassy. But I don't have to call the embassy. It will take several weeks. It's now coming to 3 months. I've never received anything from any information from the embassy, from the NVC. Unfortunately,
who did you file for? I missed who you filed for.
For my I-730, I'm an asylee with a green card.
Oh, so you're waiting for your family to follow to join you?
Yes.
Okay. And you haven't heard from the embassy for how long now?
It was March 20th. They sent me a letter that it was sent to the embassy, but we don't have to call the embassy. We wait for several weeks. They will inform us when to go for an interview.
You haven't heard anything. What embassy is this?
My question, embassy is Uganda.
Okay.
Uganda, Africa.
I mean, you have 3 choices. Wait, try to contact the embassy yourself, or hire somebody who knows how to contact the embassy for you to see what's going on.
All right.
The only thing I can tell you is either wait, contact them, or call me, and I'll have my staff call the embassy and find out what's going on.
Thank you very much.
All right, hold on. Let's go to Jermaine in Burlington, Vermont. Jermaine. Oh, Jeremy. Excuse me, Jeremy. That was Jermaine. Jeremy, who are you? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
I do. How are you?
Good, how are you? So my question is, I am a green card holder through my previous marriage, and I got divorced on 2021, and I am my 5th year anniversary as a green card holder next year, 2024, and I am now married, and my spouse has we got married last year, and my current spouse has a J1 expired visa, and his visa as a J1 expired on year 2020. Can I file a green card
No.
for him now while he stayed in the U.S., or should I wait for next year?
Well, he can stay here undocumented if he chooses to, but you cannot file for him until your 5-year anniversary of you getting a green card, because you got a green card through marriage. And if he's going to adjust his status, you have to become a citizen as well. So I would suggest 90 days before your 5-year anniversary, the best thing you can do is file your citizenship immediately. And and it takes about 6 months to become a citizen. So by the time you become a citizen, it will be about 5 years and 3 months after you initially got your green card. And then I would just put in an adjustment of status for your spouse. That's how I would handle it.
So I have to file for naturalization first, and then
Well, if you can become a U.S. citizen, file for your citizen 90 days before. And he's in the United States, and he can not only adjust once you're a citizen, you have to become a citizen first no matter what. And it only takes 6 months to become a citizen. So file your citizenship 90 days before your 5-year anniversary. Do you understand you can file for citizenship quicker than file for him? And by the time you become a citizen, 5 years and 3 months after you have a green card, put in his adjustment.
Okay.
Okay, makes sense to me. Hold on. Angela in Hilton Head, South Carolina.
Well, good day. Good day, Brett. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you so much for taking my call.
My
so
pleasure.
my question is, yes, my sister actually got married to a U.S. citizen and sent forms for adjustment of status and I-130, so that was concurrent filing.
Right.
And she also included her 2 minor children that are in South Africa at this point in time. So the person that advised her also said she should do also I-30 and 485 for the children, but the minor children are overseas now. So what happened is USCIS responded to her own application for the 485 and the I-30, but rejected the I-30 for the children and returned the form. And the reason was, it says that
they're not here in the U.S. You can't adjust the status if you're not here in the U.S. So is she doing this through marriage to a U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How old are the children?
They are 10.
Okay. The U.S. citizen spouse should file an I-130 visa petition for each child. That's what they do as a step parent.
Okay, so that is what exactly he did. He filed the I-130 separate I-130 petitions, and he also included 485 as well for the minor children.
No.
That was wrong, right?
Correct. Listen, the wife, who is your sister, who is here, would file an adjustment application, because an adjustment application is a request for an interview in the United States. You can't adjust your status if you're not in the United States. So you would file a visa petition and an adjustment together for the wife, your sister. For her 2 children in South Africa, the stepfather, her husband, would file 2 separate I-130 visa petitions. That's it. Watch this 100 times. That's the explanation. There's nothing more to say. Anything else they do is wrong. Hold on. Let's go to Anita in Orlando, Florida. Anita.
Hello, this is Nita.
How are you?
Hi, Brad. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
Hey, I have a quick question. My mom, she filed for my sister. My mom, a green card holder, and she filed for my sister unmarried, who's unmarried. 3 years ago, or 3 months ago, my mom deceased. She died. So I wanted to know, me being a U.S. citizen, can I take up the case?
Where's your sister?
She's in Guyana, another country.
Was the I-130 visa petition approved?
What is that?
Was the I-130 visa petition that your mom filed for your sister approved?
No, it was 3 years ago. It's still in process.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Uh-huh.
if the sister is in another country, you can only take over the case if the I-130 was approved. I took a call earlier where I said the woman was from Colombia, but she was physically in the U.S. If your sister was physically in the U.S., whether the I-130 was approved or not, you would be able to take it over. There's different rules depending on whether you're in or out of the U.S. So unfortunately, your sister's, that case unfortunately died with your mom. I'm sorry to say. So you would have to figure out a new way to get your sister here.
Okay, so I would have to file for her. Okay.
Or find a job sponsorship is faster.
What is that?
You can try to find a job sponsorship would be faster.
Okay, job sponsorship.
3 years instead of 12 by a sister. Cut it down a lot. Hold on. Let's go to Saeed in Dallas. Saeed.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Good. What can I do to help you?
So my question is, I came to the United States through my CR1 visa, and after I got here, I got here after 2 years of my wedding anniversary, and I figure out that later on I get 10 years of green card. So by the time I got here, it was a COVID time, and we live in a separate house. I live at my aunt, and by the time I live with my aunt, I received everything on that address. And after like couple days or something, I moved back with my wife, and I lived with her parents, and we lived together. And slow as the things goes, like we cannot get along. We have so much financial problems, and we got separated after basically I'm going to tell you the timeline. So I got here in January 2020, and I received 10 years of green card, and we separated.
Listen, I understand. I understand. You're repeating yourself. You got married to a U.S. citizen. You entered the United States with a 10-year green card. You and your wife, when you first came, lived apart due to COVID. Then you figured out how to live with her in the parents' house. It didn't work out. You fought a lot. And now I guess you're either separated or getting divorced. And your question is what?
Yeah, I already got divorced, and it's almost 2 years. Now I'm thinking about what's going to happen when I'm going to apply for my citizenship.
What's going to happen is this. You're going to have to show that nobody says you have to live in an unhappy marriage, but you will have to show that your marriage had a bona fide intent when you file for your citizenship at the 5-year mark. And to show it had a bona fide intent would have to show that you had a real relationship with your spouse. It just didn't work out. And you described that to me, so hopefully you'll be able to describe that as well to the immigration officer and be able to document it as well. But you're going to need the help of a lawyer if you're going to want to become a U.S. citizen.
Sure. So, of course,
but that's not now. But that's not now. That's in 2025 when you're eligible. What I would be doing now is trying to collect as much documentation as you can to demonstrate the bona fide intent of your marriage, which would be all your correspondence you have with your ex-wife, any financial documentation, any proof that you and her live together in the parents' home.
The thing is, I don't have the bank accounts and anything because I just got here. I don't have any bank accounts with her.
So I don't have the answer for you on a live show, just talking to you for a couple minutes. But you're definitely going to need the help of a lawyer if you're going to want to become a citizen. So hold on one second. Okay. All right. All right. So that is our meat and potatoes. I do have to remind everybody that if you are not following us on Facebook, then you should do so at Brad Show Live. If you are not subscribing to us on YouTube, you should do so at Brad Show Live. Why? Because you'll be notified every time I come live on Monday nights. And of course, if you can't get enough of me every Monday night for 2 hours, you can also follow me on Brad Show Live on Instagram for the best 1-minute segments of our show. You can ask your immigration questions on TikTok at Brad Show Live. And if you're lucky enough for me to read your question, I'm going to give you an answer in a video directly to you for the entire world to see. And lastly, you can also follow us on Twitter at Brad Show Live also for the best 2-3 minutes of our show. And finally, to learn anything about me and my law firm, to be able to contact me or my law firm, go to www.lawsb.com and you can text us. There's all different ways to be able to contact me at www.lawsb.com and learn all about my law firm. And later in the show, I'm going to be answering questions from viewers there that you're writing in the comment section, both on Facebook and YouTube, and what we call our social media check-in. But right now, I do want to talk about our medical malpractice department. And Spar and Bernstein does handle personal injury claims as well as immigration cases. And today we're going to talk about medical malpractice cases. And I'm going to explain who can file a medical malpractice claim, the legal standards for establishing medical malpractice, and the most common types of medical malpractice. Let's watch. A medical malpractice claim can be filed by anyone who is injured by a medical professional's negligent behavior. If a child is injured, the claim can be filed by the family members or the child's guardians. In a wrongful death case, the claim can be filed by a spouse, children, parents, or personal representative for the deceased's estate. Grounds for a medical malpractice claim include the following. 1. You were provided with medical care that deviated from what a reasonable doctor would provide under the same circumstances. And 2. You were harmed as a result of the treatment received. The most common types of medical malpractice include negligence, negligence by omission, misdiagnosis, failure to diagnose, wrongful drug administration, unreasonable delay, surgical errors, anesthesia errors, birth injuries, emergency room errors, lack of informed consent, nursing home abuse and neglect. Many victims of medical malpractice are unaware of the severity of the situation and unaware that they are able to file a claim to pursue damages. If you were injured by a medical professional, a knowledgeable medical malpractice attorney will investigate the details of your injury and provide recommendations on next steps. At Spar and Bernstein, we offer a free initial consultation to research your case and provide legal advice to determine your options. All right, let's go do it. It's called Social Media Check-In. I'm going to be answering. All right, Danish Faruqi asks, hi, Brad. I applied for asylum in 2017. Our hearing was postponed indefinitely due to COVID, and our work permits were not renewed. I don't know how to proceed. Any advice? I'm going to get back to you, Farood, in 1 second because I forgot to do something. And it's called I forgot my most important people, which is my VIP people. So, Danish, you're going to get your question answered in about 2 minutes. But I got to get to my VIP people first. My mistake. I love my VIP people. And they are on Brad Show Live Facebook VIP page. And we have 4 VIP questions today. So if you want to be a VIP, join our Brad Show Live Facebook membership page. Our first VIP question comes from Piss Miss Nana. How do I find out what my green card status is when I only have my A number. Thank you, Mr. Bernstein. You can do what's called the Freedom of Information Act request. It's the only way to figure it out. Arlen Belena Lopega, Attorney Brad, sir, I'm wondering, can a person waiting for their adjustment of status for a green card file for EAD by herself, or they need help from a lawyer to file, and how long will it take? You can file yours. You don't need any help. File your EAD, pick section C9 and file it. You want the help of a lawyer, by all means, but you don't need to. Totally up to you. Lawrence Ndibe, from your practice, how long does I-751 take to be adjudicated, especially based on cruelty with 1010 documents submitted? Is there also a high chance of not having any interview, as I filed my priority date is March 17, 2023? They're taking about 3.5 years. You didn't file based on cruelty. You filed based on extreme abuse. But if you have 10 of 10 documents, you never know. Maybe your case will be waived. But usually the cases that are waived are the joint applications. But sometimes I've seen cases with substantial documentation waived for an interview as well. And lastly, Rhonda Abrams, can a permanent resident child over 21 file for parent? The answer, unfortunately, is no. You have to be a U.S. citizen. So that is our VIP questions of the day. You want to be first in line, you got to join our VIP page on Facebook at Bradshaw Live. Okay, now back to Dinesh Faruqi. There it is. Join the Bradshaw Live. Put that back up there for a second, Joe. It says join the Bradshaw Live VIP Facebook page at Brad Squad Immigration Law Advice. All right. Dinesh Faruqi. Hi, Brad. I applied for asylum in 2017. Our hearing was postponed indefinitely due to COVID. Our work permits were not renewed. I don't know how to proceed. Well, A, renew your work permits. You just have to file for them. And two, if you have a good case for asylum, then I would suggest doing what's called a pre-litigation mandamus and force the government to give you an interview. If you don't have a good case, why would you want an interview? You'd end up in deportation. So I would meet with you and determine whether you have a good case or not. And then if we think you have a winning case, good case means you're going to win, then we do a pre-litigation mandamus and force the government to give you an interview so we can complete it. Jose Beltran, Mr. Brad, good afternoon. I have a question. Let's say you're a victim of crime. You filed for your U visa and you're waiting. That person does have a criminal record who filed. What's the chances? Depends what the criminal record is. You still have to be admissible to the United States. So if you have something more than a petty offense, it could be a problem. Renee Dunn-Cumbe. Hi, Brad. How long can I file my new husband's status change after my first husband application was denied? You can get divorced and refile, remarry, and refile immediately. There's no waiting time. Yvonne Robinson. Hello, Brad. I have a question. If you lost your landing pass and your daughter wants to file, what advice do you have for me? You can go online to get it. You can file an I-102 for a replacement. There's lots of ways to prove that you made a legal entry into the U.S. Years ago, they would even stamp your passport. So if you have to stamp in your passport with the visa, that works as well, too. Let's go to Renee. I already asked, I think, she has a new question. Can I renew my underage child green card even though she got citizenship through my naturalization? No, you don't renew her green card. She's an automatic citizen. Why would you renew somebody's green card if she's an automatic citizen? Get her a certificate of citizenship. Sunny Javade. Hi, can I get a travel document while my asylum application is pending? Yes. Just don't travel back to the country you're claiming asylum from. Trini Whitgirls. Got it right the third time. Hi, Brad. I live in London. How long would it take for me to get my green card? My husband did the I-130 in February. I only got a letter saying they received the application, but nothing since. Assuming your husband's a citizen, about 2 years, start to finish. Katie, 1876, Jamaica. Good day. What are some questions to ask at a VAWA-based green card interview? Ask questions about your good moral character. They ask questions pertaining to the bona fides of your marriage to your abusive spouse, and they ask questions regarding the abuse. And they also ask questions to make sure you're admissible to the United States, that you haven't committed fraud, you don't have criminal records and things of that nature. Gabrielis Klinger Hodge. I have a question. How many sponsors can you have on an IR1 visa case for an affidavit of support? You have your sponsor and plus all of the people who live in your sponsor's home. And then you're allowed a second sponsor and all of the people that live in your second sponsor's home. Shwani, Brad, I have been denied N400 2 times because of not having enough time in the country. What is my option? Have enough time in the country now. 30 out of 60 months physically in the United States, 90 days living in the state where you're filing before you file, and no trip more than 6 months out of the country in the last 5 years. 30 out of 60 months in America, no trip more than 6 months, live in the state where you're filing for 90 days before filing. That's how you do it. Spend the time in the U.S. Leo Caballero. Hello, quick question, sir. I will file the adjustment of status next year after I get married. There was a misspelling in the divorce decree of my ex-wife's maiden name. Will it affect my application? I doubt it. I don't know how bad the misspelling is, but 1 or 2 letters off, I doubt there's an issue. Florence Haas. My husband filed for his 2 unmarried daughters in Jamaica, and he has multiple strokes as a nursing facility. He filed for them in March 2018. Can I, as his wife, continue the process? No, you cannot continue the process. He has to continue it, but God forbid he were to pass and the I-130s were approved and you married your husband before his children turned 18, then you would be able to substitute in. Gabrielle, I have a question. How many sponsors can you have? I already answered that one. Chris Ramsey, can permanent resident daughter petition for an overstayed parent? No, you have to be a U.S. citizen. Fons Bonitatis, do you have a forecast or hunch when an EB2 will more likely move forward? And by how many months will the cutoff date move forward? I do not have a hunch, unfortunately. I have no hunch whatsoever. We just have to watch the visa bulletin month to month. Yoon Go, I filed my marriage green card. I'm currently on an F1 visa and will graduate soon. How will filing a green card affect my OPT? If you file for adjustment of status, you're no longer on OPT. You have a pending adjustment of status. You have the work permit through OPT. You can use it and keep it. You'll eventually get a new work permit through your adjustment of status. Tony Waya. Hi, Brad. It's 1 month since my case status changed to new card is being produced. I'm yet to receive my green card. Is this normal? What should I do? Wait 120 days. That's 4 months. If you still don't have it, call me. Belson Dower. Anybody recently renewed their refugee travel document? Do you need to return your current document in order to get a new one? I answered him on the show. The answer is no, you don't have to return it. Trini, I just approved for an H-1B visa to start work in July. Can my spouse, who's a U.S. citizen, do a concurrent filing for my green card? The answer is yes. File an adjustment, I-45 and I-130 simultaneously. Ami, hello, Brad. How so I ensure that I'm downloading the correct and update forms for filing? Well, if you go to the USCIS website and download it, that's the most updated form. You can't be more certain than downloading the form directly from USCIS. Uma Brasilera, not America. Can I file a marriage status 1 day after marriage, or should I wait a month? No, file 1 day after marriage. Get it going. Get your application in. I'm a big proponent of that. Priscilla Lauren, my parents were all U.S. citizens, but they passed away. They never applied on my behalf. I was under 10 years old when they got their citizenship. What can I do to have my green card? I never traveled to the U.S. Unless your parents were citizens when you were born, there's nothing you can do because they never filed for you after you were born. So unfortunately, you got to figure out another way. Prince, hi, Brad. I'm a U.S. citizen. I filed for my parents. Can I still file for my fiance? Yes, you can. Alex, I got my green card 2018. When can I go for my citizenship? 90 days before November 28th, 2023. So that would be August, September, October. That would be October 1st. No, that would be September to October, September to October, November. That would be September 1st, 2023. If I did my math right. 90 days before. Good evening. I did my biometric. I haven't received my social security number nor work permit. Happens. You'll get it soon. I promise you. Is there premium processing for I-601 waiver? No, unfortunately, no. And I-601 waivers are taking a while. Can I file for my niece? She is in Jamaica. No, you can't file for your niece. I have a friend who got married January 2022 and filed July 2022, but due to a bad lawyer, she hasn't gotten a receipt or response till date. What can be done? Change lawyers. The best thing you can do is find a good lawyer. You have a bad lawyer, your case is going to get effed up really fast. Richard Sow, I've married someone who is not a U.S. citizen. We will file the I-45 and I-131 so that she can visit her sick father. Would this be the appropriate forms to fill out? Only if you're in legal status. If you're not in legal status, you can't file an adjustment. Arthurine Richards, good evening, Brad. I filed for my husband. I'm waiting for approval of the I-824. I'm interested in applying for a visiting visa for my stepdaughter. Would that interfere with the open immigration case? Yes, it will, and she's not going to get a visitor's visa, unfortunately. Colleen, my son's father filed for him in 2013, and they keep putting it back, saying he was a child over 21, wife, he's divorced, he wants to visit, his dad who's sick, wants to see him, but can't get a visiting visa. They say he has to wait until the filing comes through, but dad wants to see him. Unfortunately, can't. Once you apply for a green card, they're not going to give a visitor's visa, and we just got to wait on the waiting list, unfortunately. Nikisha, after filing the I-751 in 2021, 5 years of marriage in June 2023, can you apply for citizenship anytime after? Yes, you can, anytime after. Masse. If petitioner became a U.S. citizen while F2B cases at the National Visa Center are now eligible to do adjustment of status under F1, is it possible to do adjustment of status with USCIS? Is it necessary to first request the NVC for I-130 upgrade? No, just file the adjustment and request from the NVC simultaneously. Mas, does non-marital certificate need to be included with I-45 for first preference petition? Could always help. Always help. It doesn't have to. All right, we're going to do 2 or 3 more. Delicious. Hi, Brad. Can my son and his wife file an I-130 for his 11-year-old daughter in Jamaica? She did not get his or her mom's last name, but my son took care of her from birth. Yes, my son and his wife filed an I-130 for 11-year-old daughter. Your son can file if he's the biological father. If he's not, then he can't. Or if he is the stepfather and he can prove the biological relationship between his wife and the child. Even if the wife's name, the mother, is not on the birth certificate, you always take a blood test. I think that was the question. So this is the stepfather filing for a child in Jamaica, but the mom's name is not on the birth certificate. So you can always do a blood test to prove she's the mother. And last question of the day goes to Sandy Everbless. Can someone who received a green card through VAWA and divorce apply for citizenship at 3 years? And the answer is absolutely, positively yes. All right. So last week, our correspondent, Jonathan Elliott, spoke with news anchor and social media influencer Shannon Lanier. Shannon is the 6th great-grandson of President Thomas Jefferson and his enslaved maid, Sally Hemings, and co-author of the book, Jefferson's Children, The Story of One American Family, where he explores his complex family history. This is the second part of Jonathan's conversation with Shannon about what he discovered writing the book, what the Jefferson Hemings legacy means to him, and why he encourages others to find out what they can about their family's heritage. Let's watch.
As the 6th great-grandson of President Thomas Jefferson and his slave Sally Hemings, news anchor and social media influencer Shannon Lanier knew he had, to say the least, an interesting family heritage. But when he decided to co-author the book, Jefferson's Children, The Story of One American Family, Shannon took a deep dive into his family history and unearthed some difficult and complex but insightful truths. And he connected to relatives he had never met in the process as well. Shannon joins me now to share what he discovered, what the Jefferson Hemings legacy means to him and his family, and what he hopes others can learn from their story. Shannon, what's up?
Hey, so glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us about your experience when you spent the night at Monticello and then meeting your family, 1999 at the Jefferson home.
2 different experiences. The meeting everybody for the first time in 99 was amazing. I didn't know what to expect. That was when Lucian had invited us down to Monticello for a reunion that was on the Oprah Winfrey show. So a lot of people saw that. But then going down there, I was like, oh, it was exciting because I was going to get to meet these people I have always heard about, wondered about. Just let's go. And so we went down there. Some received us well, and others were not as nice, not as nice as they could have been. Yeah. You know, they didn't know what to expect either. And they thought, here come these people trying to take land and take what we have. You know, I was like, we don't want nothing you got. You know, we just want our birthright.
Yeah.
If anything, our family has been through way more than your family has. So we just want to get to know the family. That's all we wanted.
So Shannon, when you spent the night at Monticello, what did you experience?
It was emotional. It was it pulls out your heartstrings because you're here on this beautiful plantation. You want to connect with your ancestors, and it was sort of like an experience, an immersion experience to see what they would have gone through. But you know, you really can never imagine what they would have gone through because I'm there in 2020 and experiencing a very different environment. I had my cell phone, I had people around me. You know, they had animals running around, animal smells all over the place. Themselves, after working all day, they didn't bathe every day, so they were working in the fields day in and day out, and then had to be in their, you know, places. And the floor I slept on was a mud floor. So that was like, it got really cold at night. It was uncomfortable. They only got sheets and new clothes once a year. So, you know, it was a traumatic experience to be able to imagine what they went through, but still, you can never really imagine unless you were there. But it was a powerful and unforgettable experience to be able to take part in that and be able to just get a glimpse of what my ancestors might have went through.
Wow. From that whole experience, do you feel like Monticello is a better memorial of who Jefferson was than the Jefferson Memorial in Washington, D.C.?
I totally do, because Monticello is doing the right thing. They're teaching people the way history should be taught. They're giving you all the information and then letting you decide how you feel about it. They're not trying to sugarcoat it and say one thing or not. Now, 50 years ago, it was different. 50, 40 years ago, you go to Monticello, they act like the slaves didn't exist and Jefferson did everything by himself. But now they're telling the full story of who Jefferson was as not only the president and founding father, but as a slave owner. And they show you where the slaves lived, what they did, how they worked, and how smart they were, how crafty they were, and all of these amazing aspects of what life was like. So you have some context to put with the entire story. It's not just he's on a pedestal at the Jefferson Memorial in D.C. saying this is a great man who wrote the Declaration of Independence. No, tell us the full story. We're smart enough. We can handle it. And then let us decide how we want to vision this guy, how we want to see him, and how we want him to represent us as a people.
How have you reconciled the history of your ancestry between the fact that Hemings was an enslaved woman who has children by her slaveholder, a president, like we said, and a founding father of the United States who preached equality, which he didn't practice?
You know, it's difficult because it is painful, you know, and you do get angry a lot at some of the things that went on, but you have to continue moving. You can't let that anger consume you and consume your soul, you know, so you have to pretty much put it behind you and say, you know, that was history, that was then. I have to make sure I do my part to make sure it's never forgotten and that it never happens again. You know, so I think a lot of people want to just put it behind them and say, oh, it didn't happen, oh, it was so long ago. But like, no, we need to acknowledge this, because to act like it didn't happen takes away the blood, sweat, and the tears that my family put into this country, into the foundation of not only Monticello, not only the presidency, but this country. And so we have to talk about it. So many people want us to move on and act like slavery didn't happen. No, it happened. It was horrible. And we know who took part in that. So let's acknowledge that and not just put Jefferson on a pedestal and act like he was a great hero. He was also a person who owned human beings. We have to address it. We have to recognize it. We have to discuss it. And then we can get to a point of healing and reconciliation. But we can't get there until we start talking.
Yeah. I know that you appeared in an Ancestry.com commercial, right?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We reenacted the signing of the Declaration of Independence with all living descendants of the original signers. And so it was pretty amazing. And, you know, you pull out, you meet all these people, and you black, white, Asian, Indian, you know, so many different ethnicities all mixed into one group. And then they're signing and posing in this replica of the actual painting, and they're reciting the words of the Declaration of Independence.
Wow.
And you pull out, and it's like all these people are all descendants of the original signers. It's like, oh wow, this is what America has become, a melting pot, if you will.
Yeah.
Or,
So why do you encourage people to find out about their ancestry, even if they're apprehensive about what they might find out?
I think it's amazing to know where you come from and what has gone on in your family previously. And a lot of people say you don't know where you're going unless you know where you come from. I don't necessarily agree with that, because a lot of people don't know where they come from and may never be able to find out where they come from, but they can still make sure they're going in the right direction.
So talk to us about in 2020, how you participated in the project American Descendants with Smithsonian Magazine.
I wanted to partake in that because I wanted my voice heard. I wanted my ancestors and my, history to be told. I want people to realize that, yes, Jefferson was a founding father, but he was also a slave owner. And this is what happened with Sally Hemings. Yeah. So I wanted to show that. And I guess the project was to dress me up in period clothing like Jefferson would have worn.
And going viral. And going viral with that. That literally was everywhere.
Yeah, it was amazing because they morphed our faces together and you like see the side like, wow, like I never thought I looked like Jefferson. But then that came out. I was like, oh.
I saw a little something like, I'll hold you. I was like, I can kind of see it. Where can everybody follow you on social media? You're a social media influencer.
I am mainly on TikTok at Mr. Shannon Lanier, but also across other platforms as Mr. Shannon Lanier as well, on Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. But TikTok is where I get to really cut loose and have fun because I do these segments called News Anchor Dad. And I get to have a lot of fun with my kids playing around and using my news anchor voice to reprimand them or talk about them or something that they're doing. So it's a lot of fun to be able to, especially as a news anchor, when you're used to doing stuff that's so doom and gloom all the time, you want to have a little fun. You want to be able to laugh and bring joy to other people as well. So that's what I try to do on social media.
Awesome. Now, Shannon, let us know, what's your American dream?
Ooh, for me or for America?
Give me both.
Okay. Well, for myself, I think my American dream is to just be able to do what I love doing on television, just bringing news and information to people while raising an amazing family with peace and comfort and joy in their hearts, to be able to, have a house, have property, have maybe even a business on the side where I'm just enjoying my best life, if you will.
Yeah.
And for America, I just pray for peace, for so many levels, because there's just so much unrest, destruction, discrimination going around in this country. Peace would solve a lot of that. Just peace amongst people in their communities, peace amongst the different races, peace among Democrats and Republicans. There's so many aspects of peace.
Absolutely. Shannon Lanier, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate all this, and hopefully it continues to get the word out.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you. Back to the studio.
All right. Good job, Jonathan. And that was very interesting from Shannon as well. And we are now coming to our speed round. Are we ready to do it? I have been stretching and watching at the same time. Let's do it. All right, so I'm going to answer 10 immigration questions in 50 seconds. Are we ready?
Yes.
5, 4. I heard yes. 5, 4, 3. 29 Super C says I can do it. 2, 1. Let's do it. Married to a permanent resident, do I file I-130, I-45, and I-76 at the same time? Only if you're in legal status. Can a conditional green card holder file for his 20-year-old child? Yes. Can someone deported twice with never to return to U.S. soil and their papers ever returned? Probably not. I lost my child's CRBA certificate. What can I do? File for certificate of citizenship. Can parents of a U.S. citizen child who overstayed adjust their status if the child's over 21? Can I apply for a tourist visa and say I'll be staying with my friend? Yeah, why not? If a U.S. citizen files for their minor grandchild, will the child be a citizen? No. Do you have to pay a fee to receive a green card by the mail if you came on an immigrant visa? Yes. after I-765 approval. How long does it take to get any ID? I don't know. Probably 3, 4, 5 months. I got a prima facie. Can I apply for a travel document if you file an adjustment only? I did it with 2 seconds to go. Well, I should get something. Yes, I did it. They said I did it. They went to the video. I was like, I got to watch one more time. They did it. And watch. They did it. They gave it a 10 immigration questions they did in 50 seconds. Right at the skin of my teeth. I just did it just in time. Woo. I thought I was going to lose again. All right. Well, Super C, I did it. And thank you, Nikisha. Nini got 29 Super C said I can do it. And Nikisha said, good job. So thank you. All right. Let's go comments of the day. Let's do it. Comments of the day. All right. First comment of the day comes from Dion Reed. Squad up, the bestest and realest human being in all of the immigration lawyers. Big up yourself and the awesome team alongside you, Uncle Brad. Thank you very much, Dion. Second comment of the day comes from Wendy Brown. You are the best, Brad. You did it for me too, and my case was very hard. Thank you, Wendy. I appreciate that. Third comment of the day comes from Nikisha Minigot. Pickney Jacobs. Uncle Brad is smart, passionate, resourceful, resilient, and compassionate. Wow. My ego is getting bigger by the moment, Nikisha. Thank you. Our fourth comment of the day comes from Marcella Reed. Just hire Brad. Do it right the first time. I agree. Thank you very much, Marcel Reed. And last comment of the day comes from Joyce Henry. Brad is the best. Wow, I love comments of the day. I feel so good when comments of the day are done. I wish everybody would talk to me like this in my life. It's really nice to hear all the nice things. So thank you very much. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of our show. I'm going to be off the air next Monday because it's July 3rd for the 4th of July holiday. But we will be back live on Monday, July 10th at 5 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, remember to like and subscribe to Brad Show Live on Facebook and YouTube. On Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, you can also follow and like us for lots of great content, immigration advice, immigration content, and personal injury and accident content as well, and lots of fun information as well, and lots more. Have a good weekend. Have a good week, everybody. Have a great July 4th weekend. Hope everybody is enjoying their summer. Wishing you all a very safe and happy 4th of July holiday, wherever you are in the United States and around the world. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.
So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAW-LINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And visit us now at our Connecticut office, 221 Main Street, Suite 501, Hartford, Connecticut. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465.
What are you doing?